Hello and welcome to Bulletin. Coming up on tonight's programme, a North East Air Show is cancelled. And what's scaring away the seagulls in Mowbray Park?
We've had nothing but good reports back and it's been very effective.
This is your local news made here in Tyne and Wear. First tonight, net migration in the North East is the lowest in the whole country. In our region, the numbers of foreigners coming to live and work is actually going down. But that's not the case for the rest of the country, where net migration was estimated at 330,000 in the year to March, the highest number on record. Joe Robinson looks at the figures in more detail.
Just 14,430 in and 10,111 out. They were the flows of long-term international immigration into the North East last year. Net, that's just 5.5 long-term migrants coming in for every 1,000 residents. The stats from ONS today showed us that of all the regions in the UK, the North East is the least attractive destination, with many in the region sceptical as to the benefits of immigration to the area, and the country as a whole. Some will see this as welcome news. One person who would disagree is Durham law professor Thom Brooks.
The government committed itself to reducing the numbers of migrants in the UK, to reducing the number of foreign-born people who live in the country, and that's not working out like he planned. When you look at the migration figures for the North East, the overwhelming majority of the foreign-born population are centered around Newcastle and Gateshead, first and second, and then followed a bit by some distance by everyone else. Most of the people who are here are either students at our Northeast universities or working at these Northeast universities. With the cap on efforts to cap migration to the UK and bring down the foreign-born population, this is going to be less skills and expertise and experience and money and revenue that can go into building businesses, helping bolster an economy that needs all the help it can get as it lags behind the rest of the UK.
But UKIP's Jonathan Arnott thinks that uncontrolled immigration into the region is an economic hindrance, not a help.
What we're saying in UKIP is that those people who come in, who are here to study, who are effectively, if somebody's coming into the UK for the right reasons, if they're bringing the skills that we need, or if you've got somebody from a non-EU country coming into Gateshead or Newcastle that they're paying their way, then that's a good thing. Of course it is, but what we need to be doing in this country is bring a little bit of control back. We need to make sure that we choose who is coming into the country. Are those people coming into the country benefiting the North East, or are they not benefiting the North East? What you're seeing is effectively wage compression, and I'm seeing it up and down the North East, where there are people who used to command wages of £10, £15 an hour, who are actually now finding that those jobs are being taken by somebody who's prepared to work on minimum wage. So it's people who used to be able to earn a lot more, their wages are being driven down. It's great, certainly for big business. I can see why big business would love it. They get cheaper labour costs. Is it good for the ordinary hard-working person on the street in the North East? I don't think it is.
Whether a pro or a con for the area's economy, the fact that the North East can't attract immigrants is cause for concern for both sides of the debate. Joe Robinson reporting for Made in Tyne and Wear.
In other news, a man's been charged following a stabbing in Whitley Bay. Gary Robinson, who's 46 of York Road, has been charged with wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. It follows the incident on Tuesday. The 37-year-old victim remains in hospital, where he's described as being in a stable condition. Now, the Teesside Air Show has been cancelled. Organisers of this Saturday's event say it's been postponed in light of the recent incident at the Shoreham Air Show and the decision by the Civil Aviation Authority to impose restrictions on the operation of air shows. Event company Skylive released this statement.
Obviously, this is not a decision we have taken lightly, because we appreciate that thousands of people were looking forward to having a great day out this Saturday. we have put together an excellent programme of events, but clearly the tragedy at Shoreham has forced us to consider very carefully whether it would be right to go ahead. Together with the airport, we have come to the conclusion that in the aftermath of Shoreham, especially the restrictions announced by the CAA, which would have seriously limited the flying displays of the jet aircraft scheduled to take part. That is why we have reluctantly taken the decision to postpone the show until next May.
Well, the event at Durham Tees Valley Airport has now been rescheduled for Saturday, May the 28th next year. Tickets issued for this weekend will remain valid for next year, and details will be announced shortly for the arrangements for those people who wish to seek refunds. Now, do any of these items belong to you? Well, police are hoping to return the property, believed to be stolen, to its rightful owners. The items were recovered during an investigation into burglaries in North and South Shields last year. The investigation led to 2 men being convicted and jailed for burglary offences. Some property has already been recovered and returned to victims. However, a number of items remain unaccounted for, and now officers are appealing to help to try and get them back to their rightful owners. Now, seagulls have been causing such a problem in Sunderland's Mowbray Park that the council's come up with a rather unique way of tackling them. After receiving reports of aggressive behaviour of seagulls scaring children and stealing food, it's believed the authority is the first in the country to use birds of prey to deter them. Nathan Lee braved the park and the birds to bring back this report.
Well, this is Wingnut, and he's a European eagle owl, the biggest species of owl in the world. And this is Aristotle, who's a Harris hawk. And the reason they're here in Mowbray Park is to tackle problem seagulls. After dozens of complaints from the public who used the park, the council needed to find a way of controlling the problem gulls, and the patrol of these birds of prey seemed to be the best way of doing this.
They were needed because we get an increase in complaints from people, families in the park who of the nature of the seagulls, really being attacked by seagulls, being flocked around children, getting flocked who have food. So really it was just really, if we can deter the seagulls from coming to the park, people and families can come to the park and enjoy the park in a more friendly atmosphere. Well, this is the first time we've had them in the park, and I think the committee's paid up to about £9,000 for this summer's programme. So it's about 3 months worth of work, and I think we assess it in the end of October, and hopefully it'll prove good value for money and we'll bring it back next year.
And as the birds of prey adjust a deterrent to move the seagulls on, it's a humane way of dealing with the problem.
Yeah, the birds of prey are a really good natural deterrent. They're a natural predator of gulls in the wild, so the gulls realise this and they move on without us even having to harm them. Been running the scheme for the whole of the summer holidays. It's been a bit of a pilot scheme this year to see how things go. We've been really pleased with the results, and it looks like we're going to be rolling the project out next year. That's yet to be confirmed, but we have been speaking to the council about things, and we've had nothing but good reports back. And it's been very effective.
The advice for users of the park is to feed ducks and not the seagulls, and to use the bins provided to dispose of waste, as that's one of the main reasons gulls are attracted to the park.
If we do use the same bird every single day, the seagulls will actually recognise that we're not actually here to get them, so they'll actually get braver and start coming closer to them. So we do have to change the birds every so often, just so they don't get too comfortable, really. I mean, there is a lot less than there was. I mean, there used to be absolutely loads when we came here, and now there's only the odd few that stay.
And I certainly know if I was a seagull, I wouldn't be hanging about here in Mowbray Park in Sunderland. Nathan Lee, made in Tyne and Wear, Sunderland.
Well, that was brave of Nathan there, holding that owl. Rather him than me. I'm afraid that is all we've got time for in part 1 though, but coming up after the break, more traffic chaos for Durham City.
These repairs on these bridges are once in a generation, so the people experiencing those delays now will hopefully never see any delays on those bridges again.
And we meet a young man who thinks he's got the X factor.
I don't really think it's sunk in yet, because at the moment everything's just available for pre-order, and tomorrow I find out how many people have pre-ordered, how many people are interested in my music. And as I said before, it's just a real experience just thinking about it.
All that and more coming up in a few minutes right here on Bulletin.